Huh? Hi, everyone. It's me, Sailor Mercury, Sailor Quicksilver, Amy here. and today we're going to talk about, you know, about how there are some things that my Y speaker or my Y's far speaker with Google Android cannot do. Now, a lot of folks out there might have you believe that since my Y speaker happens to have Google Android as a running layout, that it would meet the standard to everything out there. That's true and not true. Now, there was a tool that Google, well, I guess it was UWay, made, which was supposed to be like the Euro Studio or the Euro Craft House, And this tool was from what it said, would be like the offshoot of having, the skimming tool. And I thought, cool, now I can make end sheets for my Y speaker for the Euro tool. Well, it shifts out that that's not true. That my Y speaker did not meet the standard, or my Google Android did not meet the standard. And I looked it up on Google Play, and it told me your Y speaker does not meet the standard to take this on. So, yeah, that's when you learn that not every Google Android has all the things. Now, sadly, this might be due to the grounds that this Google Android was made by, I don't know, was made by Motorola and not made by Samsoft or LG or one of the other businesses that got a deal to make it. And you would also think that that would mean the other things would also work well. But that's not true either. You might think that you might think that there are some things. And here are just some other things about my Y speaker or my Y's far speaker that it just irks me. Now, I'm not going to talk about TalkBack because I've already talked about that tool, TalkBack, which just seems to come out of nowhere. You'll want, like, the two times that I sadly happened to get into that tool, and it was by mistake both times. The first time I wanted to make that, I got into this TalkBack tool by mistake, is when I wanted to upload a film to Euro. And for whatever ground, sake or why, Google Android thought that I wanted to go into TalkBack. And I did not. And it's not as smooth as you think it is to get out of TalkBack. Now, many folks will make forgivenesses for it and say, oh, well, TalkBack is made for the blind. Yes, it is. It's made for the blind or folks who are half blind or full blind. And it helps them, in belief, it helps them run their Y speaker, their whatever. But it doesn't truly help them either. Because what it does is it handicaps you from doing anything. Like, let's say I wanted to go make a film. It would say, shooter, but it wouldn't let you go into the shooter. And you would have to press down for a long time to get into things that you could just double tap or so to get into. And that was the first time I got into that bullshit setting. The next time that tool showed up was when I wanted to make my Y speaker loud, And next thing you know, Google Android's like, do you want to talk back? So I was stuck dealing with that for a whole span. you know, which is bullshit in itself. Now, other things that are, and it's hard to get out of TalkBack once you get into it. Even if there's nothing wrong with your Y speaker, TalkBack will make it look like and make it behave as if there is something wrong with your Y speaker, when maybe there is nothing wrong with it. And then when your Y speaker wants to flip into full screen, when you either put your Y speaker down or pick it up, it goes, oh, you want to go into full screen. And you're like, no, I don't. And sometimes you got to fight it to get out of that when it goes into that too. Because somehow Google Android has this belief that when someone puts the Y speaker down or picks it up, it needs to go into full screen. I don't know why. It's irksome. I don't like when it does it. If I want to go into full screen, then I'll go into full screen if I choose to do it. Not when Google Android thinks that I should do it. So those are just some of the things that are irksome about having a Y speaker. No need who happens to make it. No need if it's made by Google or Samsung or LG or even Apple or Motorola. Now I know someone watches this film and they need to be able to say something or not. They might say something like, oh, that shit never happens on Apple iOS. I believe it does too. I believe all the shit that I just talked about that's irksome about Google Android will also be irksome about Apple iOS. So, yeah. And for folks that never had to deal with this, be thankful you don't. You know, yes, going into full screen when you don't want to go into full screen is irksome. But getting stuck into TalkBack, not once, but two with time, but not the first time, but two with time, that is even beyond irksome. So I had to go into a setting, take it out of Google Play, out of Google Android altogether, so the fucker wouldn't show up anymore. Because you never know when Google Android might think that TalkBack is needed. You know, you could, I don't know, which say, I don't know, be going into updates, and next thing you know, it could bring it up. Or, I don't know. So I wasn't going to go into it for a free with time, so that's why I said no to it. So yeah, these are just things that are irksome about my Wise Far speaker with Google Android. And it could also be the same things that are irksome about Apple iOS as well. So pick or choose. I'll see you all later.